Okay. Hello, good evening, good night, good morning if you are in Australia. I happen to have the house to myself this Saturday evening for a few hours, which is rare, but that gives me an opportunity to read some poetry. This stream is simultaneously on YouTube and Twitch. And the VODs will remain on both, at least on Twitch for a little while, and on YouTube, in principle, forever. So, we are going to continue our quest to read the complete works of Sara Teasdale from A to Z. We are currently in the T's, which puts us actually pretty close to the conclusion of this epic saga. But there are quite a lot of T's because there are a lot of poems whose titles start with the, and then quite a number also whose titles start with to. So, I doubt we'll finish this stream, but I think we don't have more than a couple, 2 or 3 streams left before we're done. So, the first poem on our list here is called The Heart's House. My heart is but a little house, with room for only 3 or 4, and it was filled before you knocked upon the door. I longed to bid you come within, I knew that I should love you well, but if you came, the rest must go elsewhere to dwell. For you would never be content with just a corner in my room. Yea, if you came to the rest must go into the gloom. And so farewell, O friend, my friend. Nay, I could weep a little too, but I shall only smile and say farewell to you. I like that poem. It's a good warning, I guess, to people who get jealous and want the exclusive attention of their friends and their mates. It's not a good way to be. Next we have The House of Dreams. I built a little house of dreams and fenced it all about, but still I heard the wind of truth that roared without. I laid a fire of memories and sat before the glow, but through the chinks and round the door the wind would blow. I left the house, for all the night I heard the wind of truth. I followed where it seemed to lead through all my youth. But when I sought the house of dreams to creep within and die, the wind of truth had leveled it and passed it by. like that one too. I think even though I like poetry, I'm on Team Truth in that one. Though dreams are nice too. Next up, a poem called The India Wharf. Here in the velvet stillness, the wide sown fields fall to the faint horizon, sleeping in starlight. A year ago we walked in the jangling city, together forgetful. One by one we crossed the avenues, rivers of light roaring in tumult, and came to the narrow knotted streets. Through the tense crowd we went aloof, ecstatic, walking in wonder, unconscious of our motion. Forever the foreign people with dark, deep-seeing eyes passed us and passed. Lights and foreign words and foreign faces, I forgot them all. I only felt alive, defiant of all death and sorrow, sure and elated. That was the gift you gave me. The streets grew still more tangled and led at last to water black and glossy, flecked here and there with lights faint and far off. There, on a shabby building, was a sign, the India Wharf, and we turned back. I always felt we could have taken ship and crossed the bright green seas to dreaming cities set on sacred streams and palaces of ivy and scarlet. That was The India Wharf by Sara Teasdale. I think when reading a poem like that, it's important to keep in mind that she lived more than 100 years ago, and the way people thought about foreigners in foreign places was very different then. And so keeping that in mind and making some allowances for that, I guess I like this one. I like that very last stanza in particular. I always felt we could have taken ship and crossed the bright green seas to dreaming cities set on sacred streams and palaces of ivy and scarlet. It doesn't rhyme, so it's not the sort of thing I usually go for. I prefer, call me old-fashioned, but I like it when my poems rhyme. This poem doesn't, but it's very pretty anyway. Next up, we have The Inn of Earth. I came to the crowded Inn of Earth and called for a cup of wine, but the host went by with averted eye from a thirst as keen as mine. Then I sat down with weariness and asked a bit of bread, but the host went by with averted eye, and never a word he said. While always from the outer night the waiting souls came in with stifled cries of sharp surprise at all the light and the din. Then give me a bed to sleep, I said, for midnight comes apace. But the host went by with averted eye, and I never saw his face. Since there is neither food nor rest to go where I fared before, But the host went by with averted eye and barred the outer door. That was The Inn of Earth by Sara Teasdale. Next we have The Kind Moon. I think the moon is very kind to take such trouble just for me. He came along with me from home to keep me company. He went as fast as I could run. I wonder how he crossed the sky. I'm sure he hasn't legs and feet or any wings to fly. Yet here he is above their roof. Perhaps he thinks it isn't right for me to go so far alone, though Mother said I might. That's cute. Some of her poems, most of her poems, I would say, are dark, depressing. Some of them are cute, and I really like the cute ones. Next we have The Kiss. One of her favorite subjects, it seems, is kissing. I hoped that he would love me, and he has kissed my mouth. But I am like a stricken bird that cannot reach the south. For though I know he loves me, tonight my heart is sad. His kiss was not so wonderful as all the dreams I had. Oh, goodness. Skill issue, I guess. Need to work on that. Okay. Excuse me a moment, I need to clear my throat. All right. The next poem is called The Lamp. If I can bear your love like a lamp before me, when I go down the long, steep road of darkness, I shall not fear the everlasting shadows, nor cry in terror. If I can find out God, then I shall find him. If none can find him, then I shall sleep soundly, knowing how well on earth your love sufficed me, a lamp in darkness. Yes, indeed. Next up, The Lighted Window. He said, in the winter dusk, when the pavements were gleaming with rain, I walked through a dingy street, hurried, harassed, thinking of all my problems that never are solved. Suddenly, out of the mist, a flaring gas jet shone from a huddled shop. I saw through the bleary window a mass of playthings, false faces hung on strings, valentines, paper and tinsel, tops of scarlet and green, candy, marbles, jacks, a confusion of color, pathetically gaudy and cheap. All of my boyhood rushed back. Once more, these things were treasures wildly desired. With covetous eyes, I looked again at the marbles, the precious agates, the peewees, the chinnies. Then I passed on. In the winter dusk, the pavements were gleaming with rain. There, in the lighted window, I left my boyhood. I find it interesting that she felt compelled to write that entire poem as a quote from somebody else. And the first line is simply, "he said," and then the rest of it is quoted as if someone else is saying it. Because, of course, she was a woman, and I guess in that time, a woman writing in a man's voice would have seemed a little off. I guess even today it would seem a little off, but most people wouldn't bat an eye at that. Next up, the lights of New York. The lightning spun your garment for the night, of silver filaments with fire shot through. A broidery of lamps that lit for you the steadfast splendor of enduring light. The moon drifts dimly in the heaven's height, watching with wonder how the earth she knew, that lay so long wrapped deep and dark in dew, should wear upon her breast a star so white. The festivals of Babylon were dark, with flaring flambeaux that the wind blew down. The Saturnalia were a wild boy's lark, with rain-quenched torches dripping through the town. But you have found a god and filched from him a fire that neither wind nor rain can dim. Now that one I find very interesting from a historical perspective, because, if I'm not mistaken, this is about New York City of perhaps 100 years ago, maybe a little longer, which would have been, at that time, a marvel of the world, probably because of the quantity of electric lights in the city, which would have been quite new at that time. And here we have a poet of the day comparing the electric light to a fire of the gods. In that last stanza, that last couplet. But you have found a god and filched from him a fire that neither wind nor rain can dim. Very, very interesting to me in perspective. Those electric lights must have seemed so amazing at the time. Okay. Next up, we have a poem called The Long Hill. I must have passed the crest a while ago, and now I am going down. Strange to have crossed the crest and not to know. But the brambles were always catching the hem of my gown. All the morning I thought how proud I should be to to stand there straight as a queen, wrapped in the wind and the sun with the world under me. But the air was dull and there was little I could have seen. It was nearly level along the beaten track, and the brambles caught in my gown. But it's no use now to think of turning back. The rest of the way will be only going down. Okay. Next we have The Look. This is one of her favorite themes. Once again, we're going to be talking about kissing boys. She does enjoy poems about kissing boys. Okay, The Look by Sara Teasdale. Strephon kissed me in the spring, Robin in the fall. But Colin only looked at me and never kissed at all. Strephon's kiss was lost in jest, Robin's lost in play. But the kiss in Colin's eyes haunts me night and day. So there you go, guys. If you want to get a lady's attention, be a little edgy, maybe play a little hard to get. Next up we have Loves There Are That Enter... Oh, I'm sorry. Perhaps I should read the title. The title is The Love That Goes A-Begging. Oh, loves there are that enter in, and loves there are that wait, and loves that sit a-weeping, whose joy will come too late. For some there be that ope their doors, and some there be that close, and love must go a-begging, but whither no one knows. His feet are on the thorny ways, and on the dew-cold grass. No ears have ever heard him sing, no eyes have seen him pass. And yet he wanders through the world and makes the meadows sweet. For all his tears and weariness have flowered beneath his feet. The little purple violet has marked his wanderings, and in the wind among the trees you hear the song he sings. Next up we have The Meeting. I'm going to take a quick hydration break. I guess that turned into a somewhat long hydration break in the end. I'm going to perhaps turn on my treadmill also. I've been too sedentary today, so that's going to make a little bit of noise in the background, but rhythmic and I hope not too unpleasant. I'm happy, I saw my love today. He came along the crowded street by all the ladies gay, and oh, he smiled and spoke to me before he went his way. My throat was tight with happiness, I couldn't say a word. My heart was beating fast, so fast, I'm sure he must have heard. And when he passed, I trembled like a little frightened bird. I wish I were the flower girl who waits beside the way. I give my flowers all to him and see him every day. I wish I were the flower girl who waits beside the way. That was The Meeting by Sara Teasdale. Hold on just a moment more. If I'm going to walk on the treadmill, I need to move my mic a bit. Alrighty, we're back. Okay, that was The Meeting by Sara Teasdale. And next we have The Metropolitan Tower. We walked together in the dusk to watch the tower grow dimly white, and saw it lift against the sky its flower of amber light. You talked of 100 things. I kept each little word you said. And when at last the hour was full, I saw the light turn red. You did not know the time had come. You did not see the sudden flower, nor know that in my heart love's birth was reckoned from that hour. That's a very sweet little poem. Very youthful. So next we have quite a long poem. Quite long indeed. It's called The Mother of a Poet. She is too kind, I think, for mortal things, too gentle for the gusty ways of earth. God gave to her a shy and silver mirth, and made her soul as clear and softly singing as an orchard springs. In sheltered hollows all the sunny year, a spring that through the leaning grass looks up, and holds all heaven in its clarid cup. Mirror to holy meadows high and blue, with stars like drops of dew. I love to think that never tears at night have made her eyes less bright, that all her girlhood through never a cry of love made over tense her voice's innocence, that in her hands have lain flowers beaten by the rain, and little birds before they learn to sing, drowned in the sudden ecstasy of spring. I love to think that with a wistful wonder she held her baby warm against her breast, that never any fear awoke whereunder she shuddered at her gift or trembled lest, through the great doors of birth, here to a windy earth she lured from heaven a half unwilling guest. She caught and kept his first vague flickering smile, the faint upleaping of his spirit's fire, And for a long sweet while in her was all he asked of heaven or earth. But in the end how far past every shaken star should leap at last that arrow-like desire, his full-grown manhood's keen ardor toward the unseen, dark mystery beyond the Pleiad seven. And in her heart she heard his first dim-spoken word, she only of them all could understand, flushing to feel at last the silence overpast, thrilling as though her hand had touched God's hand. But in the end, how many words winged on a flight she could not follow, farther than skyward lark or swallow. His lips should free to land she never knew, braver than white seafaring birds, with a fearless melody flying over a shining sea, a star-white song between the blue and blue. Oh, I have seen a lake as clear and fair as it were the old Bolton air, lifting a lily upward to the sun. How should the water know the glowing heart that ever to the heaven lifts its fire, a golden and unchangeable desire? The water only knows the faint and rosy glows of under petals opening apart. Yet in the soul of earth, deep in the primal ground, its searching roots are wound, and centuries have struggled toward its birth. So in the man who sings, all of the voiceless horde from the cold dawn of things have their reward, all in whose pulses ran blood that is his at last, from the first stooping man, far in the winnowed past. Out of the tumult of their love and mating, each one created, seeing life was good, dumb till at last the song that they were waiting breaks like brave April through a wintry wood. Well, that one was long. It had a few complex rhymes in it and a few simple rhymes. A bit irregular as far as I can tell. It was okay, I guess. Better than I can do. For sure. Next up, we have a poem called The Mystery. Your eyes drink of me, love makes them shine, your eyes that lean so close to mine. We have long been lovers, we know the range of each other's moods and how they change. But when we look at each other so, then we feel how little we know. The spirit eludes us, timid and free. Can I ever know you, or you know me? That was The Mystery by Sara Teasdale. Next up, we have The Net. I made you many and many a song, yet no one told all you are. It was as though a net of words were flung to catch a star. It was as though I curved my hand and dipped seawater eagerly, only to find it lost the blue, dark splendor of the sea. Oh, I like that one a lot. How lovely. Really lovely. Okay, the new moon is next on our list. Day, you have bruised and beaten me, as rain beats down the bright, proud sea. Beaten my body, bruised my soul, left me nothing lovely or whole. Yet I have wrested a gift from you, day that dies in dusky blue. For suddenly, over the factories, I saw a moon in the cloudy seas. A wisp of beauty all alone, in a world as hard and gray as stone. Oh, who could be bitter and want to die when a maiden moon wakes up the sky? That is such a fascinating poem. I really think her poems in general, on average, are quite extraordinary. That one was The New Moon by Sara Teasdale. And next we have The Nights Remember. The days remember, and the nights remember, the kingly hours that once you made so great. Deep in my heart they lie, hidden in their splendor, buried like sovereigns in their robes of state. Let them not wake again, better to lie there, wrapped in memories jeweled and arrayed. Many a ghostly king has waked from death sleep and found his crown stolen and his throne decayed. Next we have The Old Maid. Okay, I think I'm going to pause the treadmill, even though that was a very embarrassingly short amount of time to be walking on the treadmill, just because it's really interfering with my ability to properly do ASMR, as if I can properly do ASMR anyway. But I've at least got a better shot at it if I'm not walking at the same time. Okay, this one is called The Old Maid. I saw her in a Broadway car, the woman I might grow to be. I felt my lover look at her and then turn suddenly to me. Her hair was dull and drew no light, and yet its color was as mine. Her eyes were strangely like my eyes, though love had never made them shine. Her body was a thing grown thin, hungry for love that never came. Her soul was frozen in the dark, unwarmed forever by love's flame. I felt my lover look at her and then turn suddenly to me. His eyes were magic to defy the woman I shall never be. That's a nice poem. I find it sad, though I'm not sure she meant it that way. The old maid, indeed. That's also sort of a product of her time. The concept of the old maid is honestly a bit offensive in the modern era. Moving along to the next poem, it is called The Poorhouse. Hope went by, and peace went by, and would not enter in. Youth went by, and health went by, and love that is their kin. Those within the house shed tears over their bitter bread. Some were old, and some were mad, and some were sick abed. Gray death saw the wretched house, and even he passed by. They have never lived, he said. They can wait to die. Oh goodness, there's a lot going on in that poem. Next we have the prayer. My answered prayer came up to me, and in the silence thus spake he, O you who prayed for me to come, your greeting is but cold and dumb. My heart made answer, you are fair, but I have prayed too long to care. Why came you not when all was new, and I had died for joy of you? Interesting. Next up we have The Princess in the Tower. The princess sings, I am the princess up in the tower, and I dreamed the whole day through of a knight who shall come with a silver spear and a waving plume of blue. I am the princess up in the tower, and I dream my dreams by day. But sometimes I awake, and my eyes are wet when the dusk is deep and gray. For the peasant lovers go by beneath, I hear them laugh and kiss, and I forget my daydream night and long for a love like this. The minstrel sings, I lie beside the princess tower, so close she cannot see my face. and watch her dreaming all day long and bending with the lily's grace. Her cheeks are paler than the moon that sails along a sunny sky, and yet her silent mouth is red, where tender words and kisses lie. I am a minstrel with a harp, for love of her my songs are sweet, and yet I dare not lift the voice that lies so far beneath her feet. The night sings. O princess, cease your dreams a while, and look adown your tower's grey side. The princess gazes far away, nor hears nor heeds the words I cried. Perchance my heart was overbold, God made her dreams too pure to break. She sees the angels in the air fly to and fro for Mary's sake. Farewell, I mount and go my way, but oh, her hair the sun sifts through. The tilts and tourneys wait my spear. I am the knight of the plume of blue. That's quite a nice one. Next we have The Return. He has come, he is here, my love has come home. The minutes are lighter than flying foam. The hours are like dancers on gold slippered feet. The days are young runners, naked and fleet. For my love has returned, he is home, he is here. In the whole world no other is dear as my dear. It's like a dog when their owner comes home. That's what that poem makes me think of. Next we have The River. I came from the sunny valleys and sought for the open sea, for I thought in its gray expanses my peace would come to me. I came at last to the ocean and found it wild and black, and I cried to the windless valleys, be kind and take me back. But the thirsty tide ran inland, and the salt waves drank of me, and I, who was fresh as the rainfall, am bitter as the sea. That was The River by Sara Teasdale, and I find that quite clever. Very clever. An excellent poem. Next up we have one called The Rose. Beneath my chamber window, Pierrot was singing. I heard his lute the whole night through, until the east was red. Alas, alas, Pierrot, I had no rose for flinging, save one that drank my tears for dew before its leaves were dead. I found it in the darkness. I kissed it once and threw it. The petals scattered over him, his song was turned to joy, and he will never know, alas, the one who knew it. The rose was plucked when dusk was dim beside a laughing boy. That was The Rose by Sara Teasdale. And I have to say, I'm not sure I liked it. So, moving on to a poem called The Rose and the Bee. If I were a bee and you were a rose, would you let me in when the gray wind blows? Would you hold your petals wide apart? Would you let me in to find your heart if you were a rose? If I were a rose and you were a bee, you should never go when you came to me. I should hold my love on my heart at last. I should close my leaves and keep you fast if you were a bee. Next up we have The Sanctuary. If I could keep my innermost me, fearless, aloof, and free, of the last breath of love or hate, and do not disconsolate, at the sick load of sorrow laid on men, if I could keep a sanctuary there, free even of prayer, if I could do this then with quiet candor as I grew more wise, I could look even at God with grave, forgiving eyes. That's a lovely poem. And a little surprising, I guess. I like it. That was The Sanctuary. And now we have The Sea Wind. I am a pool in a peaceful place. I greet the great sky face to face. I know the stars and the stately moon, and the wind that runs with rippling shoon. But why does it always bring to me the far-off, beautiful sound of the sea? The marsh graph weaves me a wall of green, but the wind comes whispering in between. In the dead of night, when the sky is deep, the wind comes waking me out of sleep. Why does it always bring to me the far-off, terrible call of the sea? That was The Sea Wind. And next we have The Shrine. There is no Lord within my heart, left silent as an empty shrine, where rose and myrtle intertwine within a place apart. No God is there of carven stone to watch with still approving eyes. My thoughts like steady incense rise. I dream and weep alone. But if I keep my altar fair, some morning I shall lift my head from roses deftly garlanded to find the God is there. I find that one kind of interesting and also a little disturbing. But never mind what it means. It sounds really nice. That makes it a good poem. Next up we have The Silent Battle. which has a dedication in memory of J.W.T. Jr. He was a soldier in that fight, where there is neither flag nor drum, and without the sound of musketry the stealthy foemen come. Year in, year out, by day and night, they forced him to a slow retreat. And for his gallant fight alone, no fife was blown and no drum beat. In winter fog and gathering mist, the gray, grim battle had its end. And at the very last we knew, his enemy had turned his friend. I see. I believe J.W.T. Jr. died of a chronic illness. What a lovely poem about that. That was called The Silent Battle. And now we have a poem called The Solitary. My heart has grown rich with the passing of years. I have less need now than when I was young to share myself with every comer, or shape my thoughts into words with my tongue. It is one to me that they come or go, if I have myself in the drive of my will, and strength to climb on a summer night, and watch the stars swarm over the hill. Let them think I love them more than I do. Let them think I care, though I go alone. If it lifts their pride, what is it to me, who am self-complete as a flower or a stone? Something to aspire to, I guess. Okay, next we have a poem called The Song for Colin. I sang a song at dusking time beneath the evening star, and Terence left his latest rhyme to answer from afar. Perrault laid down his lute to weep and sighed, she sings for me. But Colin slept a careless sleep beneath an apple tree. Okay, next we have The Song Maker. I made 100 little songs that told the joy and pain of love, and sang them blithely, though I knew no wit thereof. I was a weaver, deaf and blind, a miracle was wrought for me. But I have lost my skill to weave since I can see. For while I sang, all swift and strange, love passed and touched me on the brow. And I, who made so many songs, am silent now. I think I can identify with that, actually. Okay, next up we have The Star. A white star, born in the evening glow, looked to the round green world below, and saw a pool in a wooded place that held like a jewel her mirrored face. She said to the pool, "O wondrous deep, I love you, I give you my light to keep. Oh, more profound than the moving sea that never has shown myself to me. Oh, fathomless as the sky is far, hold forever your tremulous star. But out of the woods, as night grew cool, a brown pig came to the little pool. It grunted and splashed and waded in, and the deepest place but reached its chin. The water gurgled with tender glee, and the mud churned up in it turbidly. The star grew pale and hid her face in a bit of floating cloud-like lace. That's a clever little poem, I think. I like it. That was the star. And next we have the storm. I thought of you when I was wakened by a wind that made me glad and afraid, of the rushing, pouring sound of the sea that the great trees made. One thought in my mind went over and over, while the darkness shook and the leaves were thinned. I thought it was you who came to find me. You were the wind. The next poem is The Treasure. When they see my songs, they will sigh and say, poor soul, wistful soul, lonely night and day. They will never know all your love for me, surer than the spring, stronger than the sea, hidden out of sight like a miser's gold in forsaken fields where the wind is cold. The tree. Oh, to be free of myself with nothing left to remember, to have my heart as bare as a tree in December, resting as a tree rests after its leaves are gone, waiting no more for a rain at night, nor for the red at dawn, but still, oh so still, while the winds come and go, with no more fear of the hard frost or the bright burden of snow, and heedless if anyone pass and see on the white page of the sky its thin black tracery. That seems to be a recurring theme in her poems, this idea of, I guess, not caring what other people think. She seems to admire that quality, but perhaps never found it for herself. So, next we have the Tree of Song. I sang my songs for the rest, for you I am still. The tree of my song is bare on its shining hill. For you came like a lordly wind, and the leaves were whirled far as forgotten things, past the rim of the world. The tree of my song stands bare against the blue. I gave my songs to the rest, myself to you. Next we have The Unchanging. Oh, hello, Connor. How are you? What is that emote? Dances. That's one I haven't seen before. We're doing some poetry. We are reading the complete works of Sara Teasdale. Oh, I see. Soya's stream is over and she rated Hills. How nice. Oh, it's a Kirby. Alrighty, so I don't know if you caught any of my previous streams where I was reading Sara Teasdale. I'm reading all of her poems in alphabetical order, and we are currently in the T's. Because I've practiced making it very deep and relaxed. And I have some nice microphones. Okay, this one is called The Unchanging. Sun-swept beaches with a light wind blowing from the immense blue circle of the sea, and the soft thunder where long waves whiten. These were the same for Sappho as for me. 2,000 years. Much has gone by forever. Change takes the gods and ships and speech of men. But here on the beaches the time passes over. The heart aches now as then. We got a little bonus engine revving during that one. I'm not sure if you heard that. I do live in an urban area, and my house is very quiet, but you can't keep all the sound out. Okay, next we have The Unseen. Death went up the hall, unseen by everyone, trailing twilight robes past the nurse and the nun. He paused at every door and listened to the breath of those who did not know how near they were to death. Death went up the hall, unseen by nurse and nun. He passed by many a door, but he entered one. That one's a little creepy. The Unseen. I like it. Next we have The Voice. Atoms as old as stars, mutation on mutation. Millions and millions of cells dividing yet still the same. From air and changing earth, from ancient eastern rivers, from turquoise tropic seas, unto myself I came. My spirit, like my flesh, sprang from 1,000 sources, from caveman, hunter, and shepherd, from Karnak, Cyprus, Rome, The living thoughts in me spring from dead men and women, forgotten time out of mind, and many as bubbles of foam. Here, for a moment's space, into the light out of darkness, I come and they come with me, finding words with my breath. From the wisdom of many lifetimes, seek for beauty she only fights with man against death. The Wanderer. I saw the sunset-colored sands, the Nile-like flowing fire between, where Ramses stares forth serene, and Ammon's heavy temple stands. I saw the rocks where long ago, above the sea that cries and breaks, swift Perseus with Medusa's snakes set free the maiden white like snow. And many skies have covered me, and many winds have blown me forth, and I have loved the green bright north, and I have loved the cold sweet sea. But what to me are north and south, and what the lure of many lands, since you have learned to catch my hands and lay a kiss upon my mouth? That was The Wanderer. And next we have The Wayfarer. Love entered in my heart one day, a sad, unwelcome guest. But when he begged that he might stay, I let him wait and rest. He broke my sleep with sorrowing and shook my dreams with tears. And when my heart was fain to sing, he stilled its joy with fears. But now that he has gone his way, I miss the sweet old pain. And sometimes in the night I pray that he may come again. Next we have The Wind. A wind is blowing over my soul. I hear it cry the whole night through. Is there no peace for me on earth except with you? Alas, the wind has made me wise, over my naked soul it blew. There is no peace for me on earth, even with you. And now we have a somewhat longer poem called The Wind in the Hemlock. Steely stars and moon of brass, how mockingly you watch me pass. You know as well as I how soon I shall be blind to stars and moon, deaf to the wind in the hemlock tree, dumb when the brown earth weighs on me. With envious dark rage I bear stars your cold complacent stare. Heartbroken in my hate look up, moon at your clear immortal cup, changing to gold from dusky red, age after age when I am dead, to be filled up with light and then emptied, to be refilled again. What has man done that only he is slave to death so brutally, beaten back into the earth, impatient for him since his birth? Oh, let me shut my eyes, close out the sight of stars and earth, and be sheltered a minute by this tree. Hemlock, through your fragrant boughs, there moves no anger and no doubt, no envy of immortal things. The night wind murmurs of the sea, with veiled music ceaselessly. To my shaken spirit sings, from their frail nests the robins ruse. In your pungent darkness stirred, twittering a low drowsy word, and me you shelter, even me. In your quietness you house the wind, the woman, and the bird. You speak to me, and I have heard. If I am peaceful, I shall see beauty's face continually. Feeding on her wine and bread, I shall be wholly comforted. For she can make one day for me, rich as my lost eternity. That was the wind in the hemlock. I'm going to take a very brief break, only a minute or so, and I'll be right back. I'm back. I need to put my ears back in. Okay. Ah, there it is, my lovely music. I really need to find better music for these streams, but I've sort of gotten quite used to this music. Okay, next up we have a poem called The Wine. I cannot die who drank delight from the cup of the crescent moon, and hungrily as man eat bread, love the scented nights of June. The rest may die, but is there not some shining strange escape for me, who sought in beauty the bright wine of immortality? Next we have The Years. Tonight I close my eyes and see a strange procession passing me. The years before I saw your face go by me with a wistful grace. They pass, the sensitive, shy years, as one who strives to dance half blind with tears. The years went by and never knew that each one brought me nearer you. Their path was narrow and apart, and yet it led me to your heart. O sensitive, shy years, O lonely years, that strove to sing with voices drowned in tears. That was The Years by Sara Teasdale. Next we have a poem called There Will Come Soft Rains. There will come soft rains in the smell of the ground, and swallows circling with their shimmering sound, and frogs in the pools singing at night, and wild plum trees in tremulous white. Robins will wear their feathery fire, whistling their whims on a low fence wire, and not one will know of the war, not one will care at last when it done. Not one would mind, neither bird nor tree, if mankind perished utterly. And spring herself, when she woke at dawn, would scarcely know that we were gone. I like that one a lot. That one is called There Will Come Soft Rains by Sara Teasdale. I assume this is about World War I, just based on when she lived, that was the major war of her lifetime, although World War II was certainly brewing at the end of her life, so it could have been about that. Thoughts by Sara Teasdale. When I am all alone, envy me most. Then my thoughts flutter round me in a glimmering host. Some dressed in silver, some dressed in white, each like a taper blossoming light. Most of them merry, some of them grave, each of them lithe as willows that wave. Some bearing violets, some bearing bay, one with a burning rose hidden away. When I am all alone, envy me then, for I have better friends than women and men. Oh, I like that one a lot. That is a song of the introvert, of the contemplative person. I count myself among that number, which might be why I am standing here at my desk in an empty house, empty aside from 2 dogs that aren't disturbing me in any way at the moment, with 2 microphones in front of me, connected through a complex Rube Goldberg-esque mechanism to the rest of the world. And I am talking, and yet there is nobody listening. If my viewer count is to be believed, there is literally nobody listening. Though you may, of course, be watching this VOD at a later date, in which case, hello from the past. That was Thoughts by Sara Teasdale. Next we have Tides. Love in my heart was a fresh tide flowing, where the star-like seagulls soar. The sun was keen and the foam was blowing high on the rocky shore. But now in the dusk the tide is turning, lower the seagulls soar, and the waves that rose in resistless yearning are broken forevermore. Next we have To a Castilian Song. We held the book together timidly, whose antique music in an alien tongue once rose among the dew-drenched vines that hung beneath a high Castilian balcony. I felt the lute strings' ancient ecstasy, a while he read, my love-filled heart was stung, and throbbed as where an ardent bird has clung. The branches tremble on a blossom tree. O lady, for whose sake the song was made, laid long ago in some still cypress shade, divided from the man who longed for thee, here in a land whose name he never heard. His song brought love as April brings the bird, and not a breath divides my love from me. This one is called To a Picture of Eleanor Duse. Eleanor Duse is a person who figures in several of her poems, and I don't even know who it is. Thankfully, I have Google. Let's see, who is Eleanor Duse? Eleonora Giulia Amalia Duse, often known simply as Duse, was an Italian actress rated by many as the greatest of her time. She performed in many countries, notably in the plays of Gabriele D'Annunzio and Henrik Ibsen. I was in an Ibsen play once. Duse achieved a unique power of conviction and verity on the stage through intense absorption in the character, eliminating the self, as she put it, and letting the qualities emerge from within, not imposed through artifice. Well, alrighty then, that's who Eleanor Duse was. Now we return to the poem by Sara Teasdale, which is called To a Picture of Eleanor Duse. Was ever any face like this before, so light a veiling for the soul within, so pure and yet so pitiful for sin? They say the soul will pass the heavy door, and yearning upward learn creation's lore, the body buried neath the earthly din. But thine shall live forever, it hath been so near the soul, and shall be forevermore. O eyes that see so far through misted tears, O death, behold, those eyes can never die. Yea, though your kiss shall rob these lips of breath, their faint, sad smile will still elude thee, death. Behold the perfect flower this neck uprears, and bow thy head, and pass the wonder by. I guess these poems about Eleanor Duse are sort of like fanfic, we might call them today. And here we have one called To a Picture of Eleanor Duse as Francesca de Rimini. O flower-sweet face and bended flower-like head, O violet whose purple cannot pale, or forest fragrance ever faint or fail, or breath and beauty pass among the dead. Yea, very truly, as the poet said, no mist of years or might of death avail to darken beauty brighter through the veil. We see the glimmer of its wings outspread, O face embowered and shadowed by thy hair, some lotus blossom on a darkened stream. If ever I have pictured in a dream my guardian angel, she is like to this. Her eyes know joy, yet sorrow lingers there, and on her lips the shadow of a kiss. And Now we have another poem to Eleanora Duse. This one is called To a Picture of Eleanora Duse in the Dead City. Carved in the silence by the hand of pain, and made more perfect by the gift of peace, than if delight had bid your sorrow cease, and brought the dawn to where the dark has lain, and set a smile upon your lips again. O strong and noble though your woes increase, the gods shall hear no crying for release, nor see the tremble that your lips restrain, alone as all the chosen are alone, yet one with all the beauty of the past, a sister to the noblest that we know, the Venus carved in Melos long ago. Yea, speak to her, and at your lightest tone, her lips will part, and words will come at last. Yeah, it's pretty much fanfic. And here we have the last one, which is called To a Picture of Eleanora Duse with the Greek Fire in Francesca de Rimini. Francesca's life that was a limpid flame, a gleam against the shimmer of a sword, which falling quenched the flame and blood outpoured, to free the house of Rimino from shame. Francesca's death that blazed aloft her name, in guilty fadeless glory, hurling toward the windy darkness where the tempest roared. Her spirit burdened by the weight of blame, Francesca's life and death are mirrored here, forever on the face of her who stands, illumined and intent beside the blaze, grown one with it and reading without fear, that they shall fare upon the self-same ways, plucked forth and cast away by bloody hands. Well, thank goodness. Oh goodness, I was going to say, thank goodness that the fanfic about Eleanora Duse is over, but I see just a little ways down the list there are 3 more Eleanora Duse poems. I don't really like them, but I'm on a mission. My mission is to read the complete works of Sara Teasdale from A to Z. And I'm going to complete this mission, however many Eleanora Duse fanfics I have to read along the way. Okay. The next one is called To an Aeolian Harp. The winds have grown articulate in thee, and voiced again the wail of ancient woe that smote upon the winds of long ago. The cries of Trojan women as they flee, the quivering moan of pale Andromache. Now lifted loud with pain and now brought low, it is the soul of sorrow that we know, as in a shell of the soul of all the sea. So sometimes in the compass of a song, unknown to him who sings through lips that live, the voiceless dead of long forgotten lands proclaim to us their heaviness and wrong, in sweeping sadness of the winds that give thy strings no rest from weariless wild hands. Next we have to Cleis, the daughter of Sappho. When the dusk was wet with dew, Cleos did the muses 9 listen in a silent line while your mother sang to you? Did they weep or did they smile when she crooned to still your cries? She, a muse in human guise, who forsook her lyre a while. Did you hear her wild heartbeat? Did the warmth of all the sun through your little body run when she kissed your hands and feet? Did your fingers, baby-wise, touch her face and touch her hair? Did you think your mother fair? Could you bear her burning eyes? Are the songs that soothed your fears vanished like a vanished flame, save the line where shines your name, star-like down the graying years? Cleos speaks no word to me, for the land where she has gone lies as still at dusk and dawn as a windless, tideless sea. That was To Cleis by Sara Teasdale. And now we have a poem which I expect will be somewhat less serious because it is titled To Dick on his 6th birthday. Though I am very old and wise, and you are neither wise nor old, when I look far into your eyes, I know things I was never told. I know how flame must strain and fret, prisoned in a mortal net, how joy with over-eager wings bruises the small heart where he sings, how too much life, like too much gold, is sometimes very hard to hold. All that is talking I know, this much is true. 6 years ago, an angel, living near the moon, walked through the sky and sang a tune, plucking stars to make his crown, and suddenly 2 stars fell down, 2 falling arrows made of light, 6 years ago this very night. I saw them fall and wondered why the angel dropped them from the sky. But when I saw your eyes, I knew the angel sent the stars to you. How lovely. And definitely more serious than I expected from the title, but really quite lovely. Lovely indeed. Next we have a poem called To E, just the initial E. We don't know who E is. Maybe we can figure it out. I have remembered beauty in the night. Against black silences I walked to see a shower of sunlight over Italy, and green Ravello dreaming on her height. I have remembered music in the dark, the clean, swift brightness of a fugue of Bach's, and running water singing on the rocks, when once in English woods I heard a lark. But all remembered beauty is no more than a vague prelude to the thought of you. You are the rarest soul I ever knew, lover of beauty, knightliest and best. My thoughts seek you as waves that seek the shore, and when I think of you, I am at rest. That was To E by Sara Teasdale. Okay, we are back to the Eleanora Duse fanfics with a poem called To Eleanora Duse 1. O beauty that is filled so full of tears, where every passing anguish left its trace, I pray you grant to me this depth of grace, that I may see before it disappears, blown through the gateway of our hopes and fears, to death's insatiable last embrace, the glory and the sadness of your face, its longing unappeased through all the years. No bitterness beneath your sorrow clings, within the wild dark falling of your hair, there lies a strength that ever soars and sings. Your mouth's mute weariness is not despair. Perhaps among us craven earth-born things, God loves its silence better than a prayer. I have to say, though I'm tired of the Eleanora Duse obsession, that particular poem was very pretty. I liked the sound of it. Never mind its subject. That was To Eleanora Duse 1. And I'm very sorry to say that there is a sequel titled To Eleanora Duse 2. Your beauty lives in mystic melodies, and all the light about you breathes a song. Your voice awakes the dreaming airs that throng within our music-haunted memories. The siren's strain that sank within the seas, when men forgot to listen, floats along. Your voice's undercurrent, soft and strong, Sicilian shepherds pipe beneath the trees, along the purple hills of drifted sand. A lone Egyptian plays an ancient flute. At dawn, the Memnon gives his old salute. Beside the Nile, by desert breezes fanned, the music faints about you as you stand, and with the Orphean lay it trembles mute. That was also, I have to admit, a very pretty poem, even though I don't care at all about Eleanora Duse. Okay, we are not done with the Eleanora Duse fanfic. We have one more, at least. Probably we'll find some more. This one is called To Eleanora Duse in the Dead City. Were you a Greek when all the world was young? Before the weary years that pass and pass had scattered all the temples on the grass, before the moss to marble columns clung, I think your snowy tunic must have hung, as now your gown does, wave on a wave a mass of woven water as within a glass. I see your face when Homer's tales were sung. Alcaeus kissed your mouth and found it sweet, and Sappho's hand has lingered in your hand. You half remember Lesbos as you stand, where all the times and countries mix and meet, and lay your weight of beauty at our feet, a garland gathered in a distant land. Okay, that was to Eleanor Dews in The Dead City. I need to mute for just a moment so I can clear my throat, drink some water. I will be right back. Okay, and now my throat refreshed, I can bring you some high quality poetry. This next one is called To Erina, or Erina. Erina. I'll go with Erina. Was time not harsh to you, or was he kind, O pale Erina of the perfect lyre, that he has left no word of singing fire, whereby you waked the dreaming lesbian wind, and kindled night along the lyric shore, O girl whose lips Erato stooped to kiss? Do you go sorrowing because of this, in fields where poets sing forevermore? Or are you glad, and is it best to be a silent music men have never heard? A dream in all our souls that we may say, her voice had all the rapture of the sea, and all the clear, cool quiver of a bird, deep in the forest at the break of day. Next we have a poem called To Joy. I wonder, will it be happy or will it be sad? You can never tell. With Sara Teasdale, she can write a poem about joy and make it quite sad. She can write a poem about death and make it quite inspirational and uplifting. Let's see what she does with this one. Lo, I am happy, for my eyes have seen joy glowing here before me face to face. His wings were arched above me for a space. I kissed his lip, no bitter came between. The air is vibrant where his feet have been, and full of song and color is his place. His wondrous presence sheds about a grace that lifts and hallows all that once was mean. I may not sorrow, for I saw the light, though I shall walk in valley ways for long, I still shall hear the echo of the song. My life is measured by its one great height. Joy holds more grace than pain can ever give, and by my glimpse of joy my soul shall live. So I guess in the end, she decided to make a happy poem about joy. She woke up and chose the boring path. Alrighty. We have now a poem called To L-R-E. Those are initials, L-R-E. When first I saw you, felt you take my hand, I could not speak for happiness to find. How more than all they said your heart was kind. How strong you were and quick to understand. I dared not say, I who am least of those who call you friend, I love you and I crave a little love that I may be more brave, because one who watches me, who cares and knows. So silent long ago I used to look high up along the shelves at one great book, and longed to see its contents, childish wise. And now I know it for my poet's own, so sometime I shall know you and be known, and looking upward I shall find your eyes. I don't know what that's about, but it's very pretty. Next we have a poem called To One Away by Sara Teasdale. I heard a cry in the night, 1,000 miles it came, sharp as a flash of light. My name, my name. It was your voice I heard. You waked and loved me so. I send you back this word. I know, I know. What a lovely little poem that is. Hello, Useless. How are you this evening? This must be quite late at night for you. And hello, King. Good to see you back. Thank you for joining me. I am still on my mission, my never-ending quest to read the complete works of Sara Teasdale. Actually, it is an ending quest. I can see, in fact, the end. We have, it looks like about 30 poems left. I'm doing okay. I have the house to myself tonight, which is very unusual for a Saturday night, but the rest of my family is out, so I can stream. Useless, you missed earlier in the day my morning stream. There was a poem that I was reading. All of these poems, I'm reading them for the first time, so I haven't pre-read them. And right smack dab in the middle of this poem, it turned from English to French. And so I was forced to remember how to speak French all of a sudden. I made a clip of it if you would like to critique my French. It's somewhere there in my channel. Okay, where are we? We are at a poem called To Rose. Rose, when I remember you, little lady scarcely two, I am suddenly aware of the angels in the air. All your softly gracious ways make an island in my days, where my thoughts fly back to be sheltered from too strong a sea. All your luminous delight shines before me in the night, when I grope for sleep and find only shadows in my mind. Rose, when I remember you, white and glowing, pink and new, with so swift a sense of fun, although life has just begun, with so sure a pride of place in your very infant face. I should like to make a prayer to the angels in the air. If an angel ever brings me a baby in her wings, please be certain that it grows very, very much like Rose. What a sweet little poem that is. Several of her poems are written to children, and I like them all. Okay, next we have a poem called To Sappho 1. There's also a To Sappho 2, but of course 1 comes before 2, so we'll start there. Impassioned singer of the happy time when all the world was waking into morn, and dew still glistened on the tangled thorn and lingered on the branches of the lime. O peerless singer of the golden rhyme, happy wert thou to live ere doubt was born, before the joy of life was half outworn, and nymphs and satyrs vanished from your clime. Then maidens bearing parsley in their hands wound through the groves to where the goddess stands, and mariners might sail for unknown lands past sea-clasped islands veiled in mystery, and Venus still was shining from the sea, and Ceres had not lost Persephone. She has a lot of poems about, or influenced by, Greek mythology, it seems. Next we have To Sappho 2. Your lines that linger for us down the years, like sparks that tell the glory of a flame, still keep alight the splendor of your name, and living still they sting us into tears. Soul, perfect singer that the world has heard, let fall from that far heaven of thine one golden word. O tell us we shall find beside the Nile, held fast in some Egyptian's dusty hand, deep covered by the centuries of sand, the songs long written that were lost a while. Soul, perfect singer that the world has heard, let fall from that far heaven of thine this golden word. I have no idea what that poem's about, but it was pretty. Next we have To the Years. Tonight I close my eyes and see a strange procession passing me. The years I saw before your face go by me with a wistful grace. They pass the sensitive, shy years as one who strives to dance half blind with tears. The years went by and never knew that each one brought me nearer you. Their path was narrow and apart, and yet it led me to your heart. O sensitive, shy years, O lonely years, that strove to sing with voices drowned in tears. Oh look, Connor's still here too. I'm pretty sure I read that poem already under a different title. Here the title is To the Years. Yes, indeed, it is also in this collection under the title simply The Years. I've been tricked. I've been made to read the same poem twice. Okay, next we have one called Tonight. The moon is a curving flower of gold. The sky is still and blue. And the moon was made for the sky to hold, and I for you. The moon is a flower without a stem. The sky is luminous. Eternity was made for them. Tonight for us. Yeah, Connor, I don't know if he's still here. He might have just popped in and out. Next up, we have one called Triolets, or Triolets, probably. Before a lonely shrine of foam-born Aphrodite, ungarlanded of vine, undyed by dripping wine, I brought green bay to twine and prayed to her almighty, and lo, the prayer of mine was heard of Aphrodite. I sang of answered prayer, and now before the goddess, the maids lay flowers rare, and she has ceased to care for bay that I might bear. To heal my heart's distress, my feet must wander where there waits some lonelier goddess. That is a very rhymey poem. War Thunder, huh? I'm not sure I've ever even heard of War Thunder. What kind of game is that? Okay, the next poem is Twilight. Dreamily over the roofs the cold spring rain is falling. Out in the lonely tree a bird is calling, calling. Slowly over the earth the wings of night are falling. My heart, like the bird in the tree, is calling, calling, calling. Two minds. Your mind and mine are such great lovers, they have freed themselves from cautious human clay, and on wild clouds of thought, naked together, they ride above us in extreme delight. We see them, we look up with a lone envy, and watch them in their zone of crystal weather that changes not for winter or the night. That's a nice one. The rhyming pattern is not very strong. You have to struggle a little bit to hear the rhyme in that one. Next up we have a poem called Understanding. I understood the rest too well, and all their thoughts have come to be clear as gray seaweed in the swell of a sunny, shallow sea. But you, I never understood. Your spirit's secret hides like gold, sunk in a Spanish galleon ages ago in waters cold. There he is, the useless. Oh, with the you-know emotes. I haven't watched one of her streams in a long time. I really like her streams, seems like the timing is never quite right. Okay, next up we have Union Square. With the man I love, who loves me not, I walked in the street lamp's flare. We watched the world go home that night in a flood through Union Square. I learned to catch the words he said that were light as a snowflake falling. Ah, well, that he never learned to hear the words my heart was calling. And on we walked, past the fiery lights of the picture shows, where the girls with thirsty eyes go by on the errand each man knows. And on we walked, at the door at last we said goodbye. I knew by his smile he had not heard my heart's unuttered cry. With the man I love, who loves me not, I walked in the street lamp's flare. But oh, the girls who can ask for love in the lights of Union Square. That was an interesting one. A little bit racy, I think. I'm glad you guys have emotes from other channels that you can bring in, because I have no emotes of my own. I'm just a poor novice streamer. Okay. So the next poem is actually 11 poems. 11 short poems. A collection called Vignettes Overseas. What time is it? I have time. I can read this. So, we will start with Off Gibraltar. Gibraltar. I think that's misspelled. Gibraltar. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not how it's spelled. That's a typo. Gibraltar. Now I can't even think how it's really spelled. Anyway, that place. Beyond the sleepy hills of Spain, the sun goes down in yellow mist. The sky is fresh with dewy stars above a sea of amethyst. Yet in the city of my love, high noon burns all the heavens bare. For him the happiness of light, for me a delicate despair. Next is Off Algiers. Oh, give me neither love nor tears, nor dreams that sear the night with fire. Go lightly on your pilgrimage, unburdened by desire. Forget me for a month, a year, but oh, beloved, think of me when an unexpected beauty burns like sudden sunlight on the sea. Next is Naples. Nisida and Procida are laughing in the nut light. Capri is a dewy flower lifting into sight. Posillipo kneels and looks in the burnished sea. Naples crowds her million roofs close as close can be. Round about the mountain's crest a flag of smoke is hung. Oh, when God made Italy, he was gay and young. Good night, useless, or rather, good morning, if it's 5 a.m. I hope you get some sleep. 5 a.m. is when I wake up usually, maybe 5:30. But I'm old. Okay, we just read Naples, and now we read Capri. When beauty grows too great to bear, how shall I ease me of its ache? For beauty more than bitterness makes the heart break. Now while I watch the dreaming sea with isles like flowers against her breast, only one voice in all the world could give me rest. Next we have Night Song at Amalfi. I asked the heaven of stars what I should give my love. It answered me with silence, silence above. I asked the darkened sea down where the fishers go. It answered me with silence, silence below. Oh, I could give him weeping, or I could give him song, but how can I give silence my whole life long? Next we have ruins of Paestum, I don't know where that is. On lowlands where the temples lie, the marsh grass mingles with the flowers. Only the little songs of birds link the unbroken hours. So in the end, above my heart, once like the city wild and gay, the slow white stars will pass by night, the swift brown birds by day. Next we have Rome. Oh, for the rising moon over the roofs of Rome, and swallows in the dusk, circling a darkened dome. Oh, for the measured dawns that pass with folded wings. How can I let them go with unremembered things? Next we have Florence. The bells ring over the Arno, midnight the long, long chime. Here in the quivering darkness, I am afraid of time. Oh, gray bells, cease your tolling. Time takes too much from me. And yet, to rock and river, he gives eternity. And next we have a place called Via Cerbioni in Bellagio. I guess Villa Cerbioni in and Bellagio. The fountain shivers lightly in the rain, the laurels drip, the fading roses fall. The marble satyr plays a mournful strain that leaves the rainy fragrance musical. O dripping laurel, Phoebus' sacred tree, would that swift Daphne's lot might come to thee. Then would I still my soul, and for an hour change to a laurel in the glancing shower. Next we have Stresa, Stresa, another place I don't know. The moon grows out of the hills, a yellow flower. The lake is a dreamy bride who waits her hour. Beauty has filled my heart, it can hold no more. It is full as the lake is full, from shore to shore. And the last place in this collection of poems is Hamburg. The day that I come home, what will you find to say? Words as light as foam, with laughter light as spray. Yet say what words you will, the day that I come home, I shall hear the whole deep ocean beating under the foam. Okay, that at last was the end of the collection of poems called Vignettes Overseas by Sara Teasdale. Okay. I think I can read one or two more depending on how long they are. And then I will need to at least take a break to take care of my dogs. The next poem is called Vox Corporis. The beast to the beast is calling, and the soul bends down to wait. Like the stealthy lord of the jungle, the white man calls his mate. The beast to the beast is calling, they rush it through the twilight sweet. But the soul is a wary hunter, he will not let them meet. I don't think I even want to know what that one is about. But it was pretty. Okay. So we have finished the T's, the U's, and the V's. Let's read just one W, and then I'll need to go take care of my dogs. So, this one is called Water Lilies. If you have forgotten water lilies floating on a dark lake among mountains in the afternoon shade. Excuse me. Sorry, seems like my voice is about giving up anyway. I'll start that over. If you have forgotten water lilies floating on a dark lake among mountains in the afternoon shade, if you have forgotten their wet, sleepy fragrance, then you can return and not be afraid. But if you remember, then turn away forever to the plains and the prairies where pools are far apart. There you will not come at dusk on closing water lilies, and the shadow of mountains will not fall on your heart. Okay, I think that's about it for the night. My viewer count says 3, which is about a record for me. So I think I will first say goodnight to YouTube. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Have a pleasant evening. And now over here on Twitch,